Okay, so our next topic is the understanding of the floral diagram. Okay, so in this particular video lecture, we are going to understand how the floral diagram is there. Okay, how the different parts of floral diagram represents. Okay, how we can draw the floral diagram, and what are the minor things which we should understand regarding the floral diagram, so that we should be able to accurately draw the this particular floral diagram in the UPSC mains examination. As you know, we are studying the angiospermic plant families, and during studies of the every family, we have to draw the floral diagram for that particular family or for the particular genus or for the particular species, right? And majority of the time in the UPSC mains as well, the UPSC likes to ask the floral diagram for a particular genus or the species. Okay, so what is the floral diagram, what it represents, what are the different parts of the floral diagram, okay, and what are the minor details of the floral diagrams? All these things we are going to discuss in this particular video lecture. So let us understand the floral diagram. Now see, we are dealing with the paper 1 and the chapter number 3, phanerogams, right, in which we have to study the gymnosperms as well as the angiosperms, and we are studying the angiospermic plant families, under which we have to study the floral diagram for the each and every kind of plant family. Okay, now see what you can see in the picture. These are the three floral diagrams. Okay, as you know, digitally we can draw this much accurate diagram for the every flower, right? But when you handwritten this particular diagram, or you draw the diagram with your hand, this diagram should also looks very convincing, and it should be very comparable with the digital diagram as well. Okay, now let us see, every floral diagram is the representation of the flower parts. Okay, when we study the flower, and from the different flower parts, particular floral diagram is generally got created. Okay, so you can see the first floral diagram, the second floral diagram, and the third floral diagram. All three diagrams looks very different from the one another. This is because the flower from which the first floral diagram is created is different from the flower which is creating the second floral diagram. In turn, the third flower is also different, and here's the different kind of floral diagram is got created. Now, this is primarily because of the presence of different types of the calyx, different types of the corolla, then the different arrangement of the androecium, then how the gynoecium is arranged. Okay, all these factors are responsible for creating the different types of the floral diagrams in the different types of the flower, right? As you can see, exactly in the first floral diagram, the outermost whorl represent the calyx. Okay, so these are calyx in the first diagram. See, 1, 2, 3 and 4 calyx are there. Okay, that is K4 condition is there, and as they are not fused with one another, and hence the gap is shown between them. Okay, that is the polycephalous condition is there in this particular flower, and that is why no bracket is placed for this K4. Okay, so the outermost whorl which is shown in the floral diagram is always of the calyx. Okay, exceptionally when we have the epicalyx, then and only then we should draw the epicalyx outside of the calyx. Okay, while if you go let go the exceptions, the outer whorl is always the calyx. Okay, so here in this particular floral diagram you will have the K4 condition. Okay, and polycephalous condition is there, and the velvet aestivation is there because they are aligned on the same radii. Okay, and due to the presence on the same radii, they are showing the velvet aestivation. So from looking at the floral diagram, you can judge what is the aestivation in the calyx of the flower. Okay, and for the same thing, if you observe the second floral diagram here, see the number of sepals or the calyx. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here the K5 condition is there, and see the fusion. Okay, that is this first calyx is fused with the fifth calyx, then the second margin of this first calyx is fused with the second calyx. So the fusion is shown here. See, observe the 5 fusions are shown here. That means the calyx is gamocephalous. So here we have to put the bracket, that is the K5 condition is there. Okay, so in this particular flower, the flower shows the polycephalous type of the calyx, and in this particular floral diagram, you will observe the gamocephalous type of the calyx. Okay, while studying the third diagram, okay, in the third diagram, see again 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 calyx are there. See, K5 condition is there, and here also the calyx are fused, and here's the continuous line is shown. Okay, no gap is there between the calyx, and calyx are fused. So here also the bracket is required. So calyx wise, when you compare all these three floral diagrams, in the first diagram you will observe there is a polycephalous condition, while in the rest of the two floral diagrams you will definitely observe there is a gamocephalous type of the condition. Okay, now in the second, okay, if you go inside the floral diagram, the second thing you will observe is the corolla. Okay, so these yellow lines are representing the corolla, and the individual members of the corolla are the petals. So how many petals are there? See, 1, 2, 3, four petals are there. Okay, that means the C4 condition is here in this particular plant, and they are polypetalous. Okay, that is they are not fused with one another. Observe the gap between the calyx. Okay, between the sepals. Sorry, between the corolla or between the petals. So if you observe carefully, there is a gap between the petals, and hence the C4, here you will not require any bracket because no fusion is there. So the second whorl is represented by the corolla, individual member are petals, right? How many petals are there? Four petals are there in this particular floral diagram. That is why C4 condition is there, and again the velvet aestivation is there because they are aligned in the same radii, right? Now observe this in the second floral diagram. See how the petals are there. See, this is the first petal. Let us first count the petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here the number of calyx, or sorry, number of corolla is 5. Okay, so C5 condition is there. In this particular flower we have the C4 condition, but in this particular flower we have the C5 condition. And observe the gamopetalous condition. Okay, the petals are fused with one another. See, petals are fused with one another. So here we have to give the bracket, that is the C5, but it should be in the bracket because the polypetalous, gamopetalous condition is there. That is the petals are fused with one another, right? And when the petal are fused with one another, we should put the bracket. So here we have completely C4 condition, and here we have the C5 condition along with the bracket. Okay, and observe the aestivation. Okay, here the twisted type of aestivation can be seen. So here in the corolla you will observe the velvet type of aestivation. Here in the corolla you will observe the twisted type of aestivation. Okay, because the different arrangement of the petals are there. Okay, now in the third diagram, when you talk about the corolla or the petals, see the number of petals. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so what is the number of C5 condition is there, and see the petals are not fused. Okay, see they are different. Okay, no connection is there between the two petals, so fusion is not there. So C5 condition is there. So you can compare. See here in the first diagram you will see the C4 condition. In the second diagram you will find the C5 condition along with the bracket, and in the third diagram you will just find the C5 condition. So this is how accordingly flower the floral diagram also got changed. Okay, how the flower is there, depending upon that there will be the complete diagram of the floral whorls, right? That is the floral diagram. So here we have the C5 condition, and this is not fused, and this is showing the imbricate type of aestivation. That is the one whorl is completely outside while the another whorl is completely inside. So imbricate type of aestivation is here. So for the corolla or for the petal, here we have the velvet aestivation, here we have the twisted aestivation, and here we have the imbricate type of aestivation. So as you can observe how the aestivation changes from flower to flower, and this aestivation should accurately be reflected in the floral diagram. Then and only then you will get the complete marks regarding this particular floral diagram. Okay, now let's move forward. If you go right from the petals to the next whorl, so the next whorl is the androecium. Okay, and now see how many androeciums or how many stamens are there in the first picture. Okay, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So A6 condition is there in this particular first floral diagram, and they are not fused. Okay, fusion is not showed either with the petals or with themselves or with the gynoecium. So only the A6 condition is there. Now if you observe the same androecium in the second diagram, see how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So A5 condition is here, but see how they are fused with the petals. Here observe, they are fused with the petals. This condition is called as the epipetalous condition, when the stamens are fused with that of the petals. So epipetalous condition is here. So here when we say the calyx, the corolla are 5 in number, right, and they were fused, and after that when we write androecium and androecium are 5 in number, we should give this symbol to show the epipetalous condition in the floral diagram. That is the individual member of corolla, that is the petals, are connected with the individual member of androecium, that is the stamens. Okay, that is the fusion between the petals and the stamens is called as epipetalous, and we should give this line right from the C to the A. Okay, where you will show the epipetalous type of condition or fusion between the petals and the stamens. Okay, so this is how the condition is different from the first diagram to the second floral diagram. Okay, now let us observe the third diagram. See, in the third diagram the countless androeciums are there. Okay, then in such a condition we give A infinite. Okay, A infinite, that means the infinite number of the androeciums are there. Okay, and they are not fused. Okay, they are not fused with one another. So polyandrous condition is there, and they are not showing the fusion with the petals as well. So here no requirement of this particular sign, okay, in the third diagram. So in the first diagram you will observe the different kinds of the androecium, in the second you will observe the different kind of androecium, and in the third even the different type of androecium arrangement is there. So this is how the androeciums, or say the floral whorls, changes from flower to flower, and this reflects in the floral diagram, right? Now let us observe, after the androecium then we have in the center is the gynoecium. Okay, here in this particular picture you will observe the bicarpellary condition is there, and gynoecium are two in number, and see they are shown to be fused with one another due to this particular bridge. Okay, so bracket is there, so G2 in bracket, this condition is present in this particular flower. Now let us observe this for the second one. See here also the G2 condition is there, and they are also fused, and hence the bracket is required. Then here in the third diagram the G4 condition is there, and they are not fused, so only the G4 condition is there and no bracket is required. Okay, so on the one hand you will have the G2 bracket, in the second picture as well you will have the G2 bracket, and in the third floral diagram you just have to give the G4. Okay, so this is how the calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, or say the sepals, petals, stamens, and the carpels changes from flower to flower. Okay, the individual member of the calyx, sepal, the individual member of corolla, petals, the individual individual members of the androecium, stamens, and the individual member of gynoecium, that is the carpels, are differ right from the one flower to the another flower to the another flower. Hence this will reflect in the floral diagram, and that is why the floral diagrams are different for the different plant families. And as you know, the floral diagram shows the very uniqueness of that family, hence the examiner definitely know what are the different characteristics of the floral diagrams for the different plant angiospermic families, right? So it becomes very, very important in the UPSC mains examination that you should draw the accurate floral diagram so that you will get the complete marks. Okay, so you can draw these floral diagrams at your home and you can practice it actually. Okay, so this is all about this particular floral diagrams. Okay, and we have to stop here. We will meet in the next video lecture. Okay, so thank you very much for your time.